Hello and welcome. I'm Jeffrey Mishlove. Our topic today is self-acceptance, accepting and understanding ourselves, our deep selves. And with me is Swami Dayananda, a member of the Order of Sannyasins, or Spiritual Renunciants. Swami Dayananda is the author of several books, including The Value of Values, Who Am I?, and commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita. He is a teacher of Vedanta, a spiritual tradition that dates back several thousand years to the ancient Vedas and Upanishads of India. Welcome, Swami.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be with you. You know, it seems, and you describe as we look at our daily life, normal society all around us, you've suggested that all of our human activities are motivated by the lack of self-acceptance, a search for wholeness, a striving to be something that we think we are not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And it is evident in our, in anybody's pursuit, whether it is an Indian or an American or a man or a woman or a young man or an old man, you see that there is always a struggle on the part of everyone to be different from what I am, from what one is. And so that attempt to be different itself stems from a self-non-acceptance. All is not well with me, and therefore I have to be different. And in order to be different, we try to manipulate situations to our own likes and dislikes, and so that we can be acceptable to ourselves. And therefore all the time one seeks self-acceptance. So this problem is a fundamental problem. I see it as a fundamental problem.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore the solution is only in oneself, and it cannot be elsewhere. Because if I am the problem, because I am not acceptable to myself is the problem, and therefore I am the problem. If I am the problem, and nobody else is going to be the solution, so I am the solution.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, if I am the problem, then I should see that I am acceptable to myself. In this, if we can proceed further.
Yes.
In this, any positive thinking is not going to help me, because positive thinking is sometimes it's good, but then the negative thinking also is as valid. What I don't have is as true as what I have. And therefore, if I look at myself with reference to what I don't have, what I want to have, so I'm going to be depressed.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, any amount of change on the part of myself is not going to change me fundamentally, because if I am a limited being in my vision,
Mm-hmm.
and any change I bring about, any embellishment, a personal embellishment or external change I bring about, I will see myself still a limited being. It's simple, like a finite sum plus a finite sum is always a finite sum.
In other words, people, when they set goals, they say, if only I had a new suit, then everything would be fine. If only I had remodeled the house, things would be perfect.
Yeah, that's true.
Uh-huh.
And so once you remodel the house, then afterwards something else starts. And so it's the problem is not exactly what I lack. That I lack is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
That I am wanting is the problem. What I want is, that's why it differs from person to person. So my own upbringing, my own needs and my own likes and dislikes, they determine exactly what I want. The problem is that I want.
Mm-hmm.
And that problem is not going to be solved by fulfilling a few wants. And so, if I'm a finite person, means a limited person, a limited being, wanting, and no matter what change I bring about in my life, I'm going to be wanting all the time. Therefore, a process of becoming is not going to help me. This is what I said.
No.
A finite sum plus a finite sum is always a finite
But
sum.
it sounds like more than a problem.
It's a finite
But
sum.
it sounds like more than a problem. It sounds like what I might call a dilemma. We're caught in time in a way. You use the word becoming. We're always becoming. It seems as if that existentially there's no escape.
There is no escape. Therefore, either we accept the helplessness and accept the lot and get along seeking, or we look at ourselves differently. Perhaps there's only one solution possible. If by a change I am not going to be different in my own vision, in my own light, in my estimation, self-estimation, I'm going to be wanting. Perhaps I am looking at myself wrongly. Perhaps I am not wanting at all. I look at myself wrongly and then try to solve a problem which is not there. And therefore, Vedanta is this, that it wants you to look at yourself, re-examine yourself. So you assume a problem, then afterwards you begin solving. That assumption itself is questioned. Am I wanting? So you question that very, very fundamental notion about myself. Am I wanting?
Am I really lacking anything, or is this part of the illusion?
Yeah, and a illusion or erroneous notion, to use a simpler expression. It may be just an error. I may be looking at myself wrongly. I have taken myself for granted. Because I find, we have learned over years, in one's own lifetime, each one has learned to question anything I come to know either perceptually or inferentially. Because we had burnt our fingers, having concluded, and then we found our conclusions wrong, and therefore we have become very wary, become cautious.
Yes.
We always take everything with a pinch of salt. And always there is the probability, the concept of probability governs all our knowledge pursuits, and which is very healthy. But when it comes to oneself, so everybody takes oneself for granted, because I think that is the only thing which is self-evident, and everything else is evident to me.
Well, our culture seems to be imbued with this problem that we now call lack of self-esteem. We all have sort of bad opinions of ourselves.
That is a psychological problem, and that is everybody, essentially everybody, whether it is an Indian, on all cultures. So everybody starts with a low self-esteem. When you say I am a mortal, that is a low self-esteem, and so within that I am a mortal, within the fact that I am a mortal, that I am subject to aging, that I am a man of limited knowledge and limited powers. So this limitation is centered on oneself, a sense of limitation.
Most people would just call that realism, not...
Yeah, that's what we question that. We question that. That is a fundamental problem.
Yes.
And therefore, and again later low self-esteem, etc., which is psychological thing. But then that I am a limited being of limited knowledge and limited powers, etc., which is a reality, which is true, but which is also not true. Well, and that's what I want to say.
Yeah. The great insight. The great insight of Vedanta, as I understand it, is that the nature of the self is equivalent to the nature of the universe.
Yeah, nature of the universe. In fact, the nature of the self is the reality of the universe. And therefore, we can say like this, that that if you look at the whole situation, two things are very evident. One is things become evident to you by various means of knowledge. Now I am sitting in front of you because you see me, that I am talking to you because you hear me. Otherwise, there is no way of my revealing my existence to you. You have to oblige me. Your eyes and your ears so reveal me. And again, then inferentially, so we gather a lot of knowledge. Therefore, the Swami's existence becomes evident to you because you have a means of knowing me. And similarly, anything, a particle exists, an electron, if you say is, that electron is because it is evident to you. You have a means of knowing it. And thus, So about the universe, the existence of the universe and its complexities, etc. So all these become evident to you. You are the person to whom things become evident. Even your psychological life becomes evident to you.
Becomes an object in my
Becomes an
awareness.
object in your awareness.
Yes.
Even suppose you go to a psychiatrist, suppose someone goes to a therapist and then talks about his current problem, then he traces the problem to the person's past, childhood or whatever. Then the connection is given, which is again inferentially. So becomes evident to the person.
Yes.
And therefore, so even your psychological life and or memories become evident to you. So in fact, even your ignorance, your knowledge, everything becomes evident to you. And you can never say this is or this is not, even that, what is not. Both these statements you can make only when they become evident to you. And your statement is as valid as the means of knowledge. How valid is your means of knowledge? And so the statement is not going to be valid if the means of knowledge through which you have come to arrive at the statement are a fact. So if that itself is defective. Now in the process, tell me, what is it which is self-evident? That is only yourself. You have to be self-evident, and to you things become evident. And therefore, the only thing in this universe is, in this situation, is yourself being self-evident and everything else becoming evident to you. Known and unknown things. Known things, things that are unknown to you, things that exist, things that don't exist, they also become evident. That I have no horns, so they become evident. That I have no horns, the fact is evident to you. Therefore, this is not. Thus, we reduce everything to one word. One word is things that are not evident to you. Only one word means anatma. Anatma means things that which is not self-evident and which becomes evident to you. And atma is self-evident. I am self-evident. What opinion I can have about the self, which is not subjecting itself to my observation? And I have umpteen opinions. And I say that I am a limited being as though the self, self is observed by you and then you are making a judgment about it. In fact, the self is not available for any opinion because the blessed thing is self-evident. I make opinions about that because whatever that is that I am connected with, the self is immediately connected with, like the body or the mind or senses, and nobody else claims that anyway.
You seem to be saying, if I can paraphrase you briefly, the opposite of Descartes' point of view. He said, I think, therefore I am.
That's how he started with. Later he didn't say that. So he started with, I think that I am. Then later he concluded, I am, therefore I think.
That's what you seem to be saying.
That's right. Because if you say, I think, therefore I am, suppose I don't think. So between two thoughts, I don't think anyway. And therefore, if between two thoughts, then I should cease to exist. If I cease to exist after one thought, then who is going to have the next thought? And so that's not that's evidently not true. But it's nice to begin with. I think, therefore I am. In fact, the other way it is about. I am, therefore I think. What I say, even though I am a self-evident person, and I am not available for objectification, and I dare to make judgments about myself, which Vedanta questions. All these judgments are unwarranted, and they are illegitimate, and therefore you have to know yourself differently.
This great insight that I am and that all of the universe is contained in that awareness.
That is a step you have to now take. Then that is, now once we have the problem settled, I mean, what exactly is the problem? So the problem of self-non-acceptance implies a notion about the self which is not acceptable to me. No positive thinking will change it. If that is understood, Then the question is, then that notion that I am not acceptable to myself because I am a limited being, limited in knowledge, limited in powers, limited in my pervasiveness, limited in time, and thus, so this limitation that I cast upon myself, we say it may be wrong.
Yeah.
And I prove that it is wrong because you have no way of making an opinion, judgment about yourself, because the self is not available for such objectification and opinions.
It transcends all attempts at objectifying it.
Yeah, yeah, because it is self-evident. Transcendence does not mean it is not available. It is the only thing which is self-evident, and it doesn't require to be known in an epistemological sense. It is not something that I have to objectify in order to know, like you are knowing me, that the Swami is sitting here close to me is because you are seeing me. A similar situation you don't have with reference to the self. Now, let us proceed here. Now, if this is so, then the question is that universe contains, etc., that it contains the universe, etc., is the thing to be discovered. And that is called the teaching. Vedanta is this teaching, is unfolding about the self. Now, first negating what I am not. Now, with the negation of what I am not, my notions also get negated, because all my notions are point of view based upon, so what I think that I am, and even though that I am not. Like, even if I say the body is myself, then you can say I am white, I am black, I am man, I am woman, I am old, I am young, I am Caucasian, I am Polynesian, I am Negritan, and like this you can have a number of notions. Then again, in this culture, you have got other thing. I am blonde, and that is just, I am blonde means I am equal to the color of the hair. I am blonde. The another fellow says I am bald. This is amazing. At least the woman has got the color of the hair, and this fellow doesn't have the hair, and he says I am bald. And so that means I am a non-existent hair. I don't know what it is, but anyway, these are all notions based upon your own understanding and appreciation of your physical body.
Right.
The thing is, the body is anatma, means it is evident to you. If it is evident to you, then how can you say this is me? It is okay, I can say body is me, but I am not the body. I may be. See, sometimes the equations are funny. Like, suppose an actor A plays the role of a beggar B, then the B is A, because there is no role without the actor. Therefore, B is A, but that doesn't mean A must be B. So A is not B. So the body is myself, because I am very much with this body. There must be some reason for it. There is an explainable reason too, but the body is an observed fact. And similarly, so if the body is white, body is white. If it is black, it is black. I am black is to take the color of the epidermis, the pigment of the, I am black when you say I am a pigment, I am the pigment of the skin. So that is a funny equation.
I mean, in other words, as soon as I try and define myself and say I am this or I am that, whatever my definition is has already become an object in my consciousness, and therefore it cannot really be me. It can only be something that I perceive.
Yeah, that's true. So the physical body you perceive, and its attribute you take on to yourself only because the self is not evident.
And that's a logical error, is what you're saying.
It's a logical error.
But which we always seem to make. We fall into that error all the time.
It's a perceptual error. It's a judgmental error.
Yes.
It's a judgmental error. That the body is black is true. Perceptually it is true. But in judgment, I am black is a judgmental error. And like even, the sun rises in the eastern sky, it is true. Therefore, it travels all the time is an error in judgment. And so here perceptually, the body is black, that it is weak, that it is fat is true. But I am fat is a judgment. That means I am equating the body which I objectify as myself. To proceed further, Similarly, I am blind if I say, I equate the eyes as myself. Eyes themselves are available for my perception. That they see, that they don't see, my ears hear, they don't hear. And these senses themselves are subject to objectification. And similarly, if I say I'm restless or something, then the mind, a condition of the mind and myself become one and the same. And that's again, an unobserved mind cannot be the basis for a judgment.
I mean, even restlessness becomes an object
Sure.
in our consciousness and
Yeah.
therefore can't really be us.
Yeah, how can it be? Because if I don't know the restless mind, then I can't say I am restless. If I know the restless mind, I cannot say either. I cannot say that I am restless. And therefore, so the mind is also an observed fact. Memories are another type of thinking.
Yes.
So recollection. We call it chittam. Any doubt, we call it manaha. Emotion, manaha. And then any decision, any deliberate inquiry, like what you are exploring now, it is called buddhi.
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 Yes.
So that is also available for my perception. And therefore, even my ignorance is something that is known to me. And therefore, so I cannot say I am ignorant. It's only a point of view. I am ignorant from the ignorance from what I don't know point of
I
view.
mean, you could say there is ignorance rather
There is
than
ignorance.
I am ignorant.
Yeah. You can say, but as long as you mean it, I am ignorant with reference to what I don't know. I am knowledgeable with reference to what I know. I am a liker with reference to what I like. I am a disliker with reference to what I don't like. So with reference to what I am, so there exactly is the thing that one has to discover. So this is what we call first negation. So up to ignorance I negate. So in the negation you have negated the whole universe, really speaking. So ignorance and knowledge and the objects of ignorance and knowledge, all of them are negated.
Yes.
That's all the universe is about, what you know and what you don't know. And therefore what is left out is only a self-evident being, a self-evident person, and that is a conscious person. So minus all these appellations, qualifications added from different standpoints. And so then I become then a self-evident, a conscious being, a self-evident, awareful person, and that person is free from gender, and we go one step further, free from number. There is no number.
In other words, there is one self,
Yeah.
one awareness that permeates all objects, all existence.
Must necessarily, because that is true. That is because if I am a conscious being, then I am a conscious person with reference to what I am conscious of. But with reference to myself as I become the abstract form of that very conscious being, which is what you say consciousness, and that I am awareness. As awareness, it has no form, it is not subject to time. I am aware of time, I am aware of space, I am aware of everything in time-space framework. As awareness, it has no particular form spatially, therefore it is not limited. Time-wise, it is not limited. And therefore, time is I am there, awareness is, space is, awareness is. The whole universe, whatever you think of is, awareness is, but awareness is without any of them. I can dismiss time, my awareness is. In sleep, time goes, I am not gone, and for a split second, time goes, awareness is. And therefore, so awareness is the content of time, and awareness is the content of space, the reality of space. Awareness is the reality of the time-space framework and everything that exists in time-space. Therefore, you are the only person that is there in this world to be reckoned, and everything else shines after you. We have a nice verse in the Upanishad, if you permit me to say.
Yes.
It's in Sanskrit. So it's nice to remember that. Natatra suryo bhati, nachandra tarakam, nema vidyuto bhanti, kutoyam agnihi tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. So there the sun does not illumine, the moon doesn't illumine whom, and Nachandra Tarakam, much less the stars, not even the flashy, blinding, lightning, and what to talk of this flame. That means Tameva Bhantam Anubhati Sarvam. When you shine, when the eye shines, everything shines after. Tasya Bhasa Idam Sarvam Vibhati. Because of that shine alone, everything else in its various forms come to light. One shines by itself and everything else comes to light or comes to shine after that. Therefore, you are the only self-shining person and you are the whole, and there is that a whole you experience whenever you are happy.
Yeah.
Whenever you are happy, see, suppose I make you happy now. So me and you, both of us become one. And the moment you think, I wish the Swami came in a suit, then there is a separation between you and me.
So there's a difference between the intellectual realization of these truths and the ability to maintain and to hold that, to live that awareness.
That is that implies clarity.
Yes.
The one good thing about this is the self is not a matter of memory. Therefore, you have to get clarity of this vision, and that is what Vedanta is about.
And all of the years of study and training that go into
sure.
that process.
Sure, yeah.
Well, Swami Dayananda, it has truly been a joy to
Thank
share
you.
this half hour with you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for
It's
being
nice
with
talking to
me.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for being with us.